All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into game number 1 of match 2, where we'll be seeing Violet against Maro. It will be a Terran versus Zerg. Maro will not be Zerg. Let's go into it right now. We'll see these two players clashing it up on Ohana Re. Jeff, I actually got the chance to edit Ohana.
Did you really?
From its original form.
What did you remove?
I removed the 4th base from being completely inaccessible.
Okay.
The 3rd base being a lot closer. I actually did it in terms of creep tumors. It's a good way to actually do it. The main base wasn't a nightmare for, well, basically
so it used to be tiny?
Drops. You can see how, like, there's...
Or it was massive?
There's not... Yeah, it was massive. There was, like 30 feet of space outside of here. So you can go everywhere into the natural, and it's like, oh, I got mutas. Yeah, it was just super, super silly. So
cool, man.
These little edits, the 4th base a lot closer. I think it worked out pretty well. Ohana's been actually featuring a lot of great games on this map. Yeah,
it actually just tip of the hat to the map makers, but also NASL for being very forward in working with the map makers to get them onto the main stage. And I think NASL doesn't necessarily get to take all the credit. I don't know, but they take some of it.
No.
For helping get those maps out there. I mean, look at MLG. NASL, IPL, they're all starting to use new maps, so that's pretty cool. Get inside the game here a little bit. Maro, blue Terran, lower right-hand side. Top left-hand side is Empire Violet. Empire leading 1-0 in this match. Now, Maro, a lot of you might know him as a Zerg player, obviously an amazing ZVT, ZVP player. But he does like the TVZ matchup, and I gotta say, I love his TVZ. Yes, he is very cautious and macro-oriented, but he's also extremely good at it. I in particular, like his Ghost/Nuke play.
Oh yeah, we saw him do that. If any of you guys have seen it, it was actually Maro vs. Leenock in the
yeah.
That game was absolutely sick. Game 5 in the Sunday Showmatch series. You can actually find all of those on YouTube, youtube.com/NAStarLeague, where we actually have any of the action that you might have missed from the NASL Sunday Show matches. So go check that out on YouTube. Just search for NAStarLeague. But yeah, Maro does show a brand of StarCraft where late game all he does is defends and then drops with little groups of 8 Marines, 16 Marines, and Ghosts, and just nukes the crap out of it.
He is painfully patient. As a broadcaster, sometimes frustrating because he can drag out any game 34 minutes longer because he's so good at that style. That being said, he actually does have the ability to spill over into ultra aggressive as well, and I think that's part of what makes him dangerous. On the one hand, you want to typify him as a guy who's probably more passive than anything else, but then on the other, he can end up being as aggressive as they get. Now, this bunker is fake. There are no Marines leaving. The Marines are actually looking for overlords. Behind this, there's just a reactor expand going, and Violet's not buying it. No spine crawler, no extra queen. He does get 6 lings out of him, and I guess
that's okay. That's
Roach Warren, right? Violet, on the other hand, too, let's say this. If Maro's the really patient, aggressive player, Violet is the opposite. He will be aggressive, and then fall back on patience if you force him to.
I like this. This is like the 7 Roach style. Well, we see a couple different styles, but this looks like it's going to be the 7 Roach style. We see a lot of times from Zerg. It actually punishes a lot of players that don't put those bunkers down. And actually, losing those 2 Marines is probably the biggest thing to empower these Roaches and have them do a ton of damage if there's no bunker being placed.
And he's actually going to delay the command center as well. He really wants to pick off that SCV. Is exactly what he does do here. And with just Hellions coming out, now there is a tech lab on the barracks, so it is... Oh, wow, and he's almost got in there. So it is within his ability to make Marauders and hold this off, but to your point, Gretorp, I almost called you Machine for some reason.
Oh, God.
Probably because you're both great wrestlers. He doesn't see it coming, and he won't see it coming until the Hellion hit it, and oh, no. Unfortunately for him, okay, he does grab the tower. Right now he knows about it, so we're going to see a Marauder queued up. In fact, he canceled that Marine that's 75% done to get out this Marauder just that much faster. And he wants to finish his command center. This is actually so key, Gretorp. If he does not finish his command center, he can't lift it off and take it back to home, and it could potentially get lost. Focus the SCV, and he does it. No! He does exactly that. That is a big deal, Gretorp.
Yeah, and look at this. He actually has to overload over here to spot up, so he can always check out what's going on, even from
He needs to pull back. Don't go for this.
Yeah. Behind this, you can see 6 drones in the making, but he killed the supply depot. He wasn't actually able to get there in time. No concussive shell is out. Actually, Stim is being researched, and he's just going to go back on that command center. What does Maro actually do from this? I mean, he's so far behind in that expansion. These roaches are doing an immense amount of damage. If he had a single bunker down, I think it would have been a lot better. 3
more roaches coming. Maro's kind of desperately trying to save this command center because it would be such a big deal to get it killed, but actually trying to save it is only costing him units. He's going to have to cancel this.
Oh, no.
He does cancel it, so he gets some money back, but Gretorp, he lost all his Hellions in doing so. I believe, actually, I think he saved the Marauder. But man, is this costly, and Violet couldn't ask for a better way to open this game.
Oh, no, he could not. I mean, he's just going to drone up after this. Let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 29, 30 harvesters to 24, so they're just about equal.
10 queued up the Gretorp. This is only going to get worse.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. And on top of that, you don't have a second command center coming out for quite a long time. More importantly, a second orbital command center. That's the more important thing. You want that that mule, that extra mule, because obviously it represents such a ton of SCVs mining. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough right now for Maro. He's really far behind. He's going to be playing catch-up for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible for him to come back, but I mean, the thing is, these roaches, so good against the small drops. No Hellion harass will be effective at all. Even building the 2 spine crawlers at the ramp, you might think, well, that's a little bit too safe. No, not really, because really the only thing that could hit Violet that would really hurt him is a lot more Marauders mixed in.
What is going on, man?
What's that?
3 spine crawlers down.
He's playing it super safe, and it's smart. Look at the production tab, man. He's way up in Harvesters. He's actually ahead in tech with Lair finishing now. Maro's been on 1 gas this entire time, only just now getting that 2nd gas. So even though he has a starport, he actually can't do much with it, which is a little bit indicative of Maro starting to freak out. I mean, I don't know, he just, like, he's going to land at the natural, so he should be able to actually utilize all this infrastructure, but for the next, like, minute and a half, he can't do anything with it.
Look at how smart this Overlord placement is. He's going in here, seeing everything that's going on, knows exactly what he's capable of, sees the starport with the reactor, and is just going to say, okay, I have to defend against drops. Well, how do I defend against drops? Spire Tech sounds pretty good. Make sure I spread out my units. I have spine crawlers in the correct positions. The only thing, if I'm going to be super critical of Violet right now, is that he doesn't have creep spread connecting both of his bases. But that's pretty minimal. I mean, right now he's looking to be quite set up against any form of aggression.
What he does have, and I think of those 2, I'd prefer it. I mean, maybe Overlord's dropping creep between the 2 bases would be cool. But he's got good creep spread outside his natural, which means if there's any kind of push coming here, there's a long period of time where the Terran player is standing on creep, and that makes him so uncomfortable, and with good reason. Not being able to build on it, getting spotted by those creep tumors, but also the Zerg units moving faster means a huge advantage. Now, Violet, this is kind of what I was talking about. He's done trying to play defensive and secure his advantage. What he's doing now is he's producing a ton of units. Baneling Nest is complete. If Maro wants to go forward with this attack, that would be a terrible mistake. What he should do is get this reaction just like he did, and then back away and go home.
Yeah, I think that would be the best thing. I mean, bait as many units as possible. Unfortunately for him, he's actually running into a brick wall in that, you know, his opponent really, or I should say Violet in particular, really doesn't need to make any more drones. You know, he's not going for a super quick third. He's going all units at this point, and it's because he has nothing else to get until these units come out. Then he has reason to actually take a third. He has the map control.
Yeah. The nice thing here is they're on equal bases. Because of all this production produced from the Zerg player, because he was worried about an attack, or thinking about attacking now, I'm not sure which we'll have to see in a second, the Harvester differential has closed. It's now 48 drones versus 43 SCVs. Maro does not have missile turrets up, but he does have Marines in place. So as far back as he was, just through sheer like good decision-making, forcing the Zerg to make Zerglings because of a potential attack, it's got him back in this game. If Maro can hold off these mutas really, really well, there's a good chance he's maybe even ahead.
There it is. Stim is initiated. That's a very costly stim, though.
Oh,
ton of damage being done to himself. You know, that's 10 Marines, so that is 100 damage being done to himself. So he has to be very careful not to overstim there. He does have the medevacs, but this is looking really scary.
What do you see about the Zerg? Like, is there a third base? The answer is no. Look at the production tab. Nothing but Zerglings. This is a and I'm not misspeaking, a +1 Muta Ling Baneling timing. He's actually going to go for the murder, and he's going to make so many Banelings here in a second. Watch that production tab. 41 drones. Or, I just totally killed my punchline. 41 Banelings. Holy crap.
Oh, God.
Morrow, you are below your ramp, thinking you can expand. My friend, you could not be further from the truth.
I think
here comes everything.
And Morrow's going to see all this for the first time. Banelings are rolling through. The Marines and Marauders, the only thing left. Who cares about splits when you have this many Banelings? He just splashes across them like nothing.
Well,
and now he's going to go up into the natural. Well, maybe.
Can he hold it?
Tank,
I don't
target
know.
it down. No, he's not targeting it down.
He's got to focus. No, it doesn't.
And
the Banelings are still rolling through, and there's so many Banelings.
He still has more Banelings, man. This is ridiculous.
They never stop. Behind this, nothing but units. It is all Lings. But he tried to take refuge in the mineral line. That's, of course, just going to guarantee extra damage. Mutalisk now focusing down on the medevacs. A couple of Marines trying to do what they can to hold, but look behind this. There's more Lings coming up. There's the GG. Morrow made the mistake of thinking Violet wanted to play longer. Not the case.
Unfortunate for him. The only way he could have seen that coming was if maybe that Hellion that he actually lost on the sensor tower, or the Zelmaga tower, spotted out that there was no third around. Other than that, it's very hard to see something like that. And with the advantage that Violet had to begin with,
yeah,
he had an even bigger army relative to his opponents.
Well, the Terran can't afford to scan either.
No,
I mean, he's behind in SCVs. He had an extremely delayed second orbital, so I'm sure he looked at this and said, listen, I'm sure you're just going to take the advantage by expanding on top of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off your harass. I'm going to turtle to 3, then 4 bases. We're going to have that painfully long game where we split the map, and that's how I'm going to try to win. And in doing so, he allowed Violet to say, actually, I'm going to do this thing where I build no more drones, no expansions. In fact, he didn't build that many Mutalisks. It was like 9 Mutalisks.
Yeah.
Just enough to get turrets, to get Marines ditched around, to get that reaction he wanted. He even went forward with the +1, so instead, well, maybe he falls back on more Mutalisks, but with 41 Banelings produced at that time.
You need a ton of siege tanks at that point, man. I mean, there's no way to actually micro that with the limited amount of Marines and Marauders that he has. So overall, just great play coming out from Violet. Morrow, you know, looking back at it, I do agree with his decision at the end. Just say, okay, assume my opponent's going to go to macro. I have to play a little bit, you know, more aggressive with taking my expansions. But obviously, he ran into the exact build that was going to counter him. From, you know, the point those roaches came into the natural and did that much damage, Morrow knows he's so far behind. When he has to cancel his command center, that's a big hindrance to his overall build. And that's why we saw Violet take a very easy win in game number 1.
Yeah, I'm ready to go into game number 2, man. That's it.
Let's do it. After this break, we'll be back. Game number 2. It's going to be on Belshire Beach Winter. Don't go anywhere.